Good morning. Hope you guys are all doing wonderful. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. How much better does this car look with the OEM grills? I think it looks considerably better. So much classier, you know? It's like, damn, man. The thing is just looking more and more brand new, like 1999. Today we are adding to the brand newness, or just nice upgrades in this car. So this car has a production date of March 1999 right here, which means that the airbag in this car is a dual stage airbag, which means that I can upgrade the wheel in this car to the E39 M5/E46 M3 steering wheel. So rather than doing something completely custom crazy, this car I think deserves the most OEM upgrade, which is the E39 M5 steering wheel. And in my opinion, it looks really, really good and will drastically change the way that this car looks and feels while I'm driving it. This steering wheel does not look so great. Stitching is coming off, the trim is super beat up, the leather is very worn. It's a very skinny wheel, has a giant airbag, cosmetically just not very pleasing, and there are just so many better options out there for this car. And in my opinion, the E39 M5 wheel just looks considerably better, so that's why I went for that one. But if your car is a single stage airbag E39, which means it has a production date of $299 or before, you will not be able to do this upgrade. Well, let me rephrase that. You might be able to do this upgrade, but it's not going to be as easy as just plug and play like mine will be. So we are going to say goodbye to this steering wheel, which honestly, adios. I'm not going to miss it. This thing is just super ugly. And we are going to be going over to the E39 M5 wheel, which is actually the same wheel as the E46 M3. So I ended up finding this one used on eBay. I actually paid a total of $250 shipped for the airbag and the wheel. I think that that's a bargain, man. I mean, the wheel isn't in perfect condition, but that's okay. There is a little bit of wear on the finishing trim piece. The leather isn't immaculate. We're not looking for perfection right now. We're just looking to do what we can to upgrade this car. I also have the guys over at Ozza Auto Wheel building me a custom steering wheel. It's actually the exact same as this steering wheel. However, it's all brand new materials. So I will be getting a nice, fresh, new steering wheel. However, that's going to take a few months. And honestly, my patience ran out with the current steering wheel. So I said, you know what? It's only a few $100s. I'm just going to go ahead and bite the bullet and get the things that I need. I needed the electronics, the buttons, and the airbag anyways for the wheel that they were going to be sending me. So this just made sense. So like I said before, this upgrade is going to largely depend on when your E39 was produced. Mine was built in March of 1999, which qualifies this as a dual stage airbag car. And like I said before, it is an easy transfer if you have the dual stage. If you have a February 1999 or before produced car, that is going to be a single stage, and you are going to be shit out of luck when it comes to making this easy. Now, I haven't seen anyone do the single stage to dual stage. I can imagine it requires a lot of wiring, probably some coding. In addition to throwing in the new steering wheel, which is going to make a huge difference in this car, I also have new, well, used but functional rear window regulators. Both of the rear windows in my wagon do not work. Super common failure in these cars, and it's just honestly been bugging me. So today I am going to knock these out as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the install of the new wheel on the wagon. All right, as you probably know, the first step is to disconnect the battery, which I've actually already loosened. Just do that, like this, put that there, and we're good. All right, so on these steering wheels, it's a little bit different than the majority of steering wheels we have done on this channel, mainly being E9X and up. When you are releasing the airbag from this car, there are actually two T25 Torx bolts that hold in the airbag. So rather than it being a spring mechanism that you would poke in the side and poke in the side to release those springs that hold in the airbag, it's two T25 Torx bolts right on the back. Now you might find that they are difficult to access. You're gonna see a hole right here and a hole right here. Hopefully you guys can see those. You might find that you have to turn the wheel and then access those Torx bolts. For me, I didn't have to do that. I'm able to get this little Torx back there, no problem. And really mine aren't even that tight, but once you crack it, you can just go like this. Hit this side, one's loose. Same thing with this side. So you see how tight this is? You might not be able to access it. You could probably just get it with an extension like that. But mine, I'm able to get in there just barely through the turn signal, crack it free, which I've already done, obviously. And then just go ahead and remove this one. So if you find that you can't access those Torx bolts because of the turn signal or any of these stalks back here, you can just reconnect the battery, turn the wheel, and then hit them like that. But I didn't have to do that. It just depends on your application and how you have your steering wheel set up. No issues on our side. So now you can just pull this out. You have one connection up top right there, and that should pull out the entire old airbag assembly. No longer need this. Set this over here. You'll have one extra connection right here. Pull that out. And then the rest is really like any other steering wheel swap. We're going to use a 16 millimeter to release the center bolt. Crack it free. And once you get it free, you should be able to just spin it out. There we go. So just a little bit different than some of the other steering wheels, but mostly the same, mostly the same. There we go. And your steering wheel can come right off. Sweet. So let's take a look at the two wheels side by side and really check out the differences in these wheels. So the first thing obviously is the condition. You can tell that this is in much better condition, far less shiny, much more OEM finish. I didn't touch either of these with any sort of cleaning materials or anything like that. Literally just received this one in the mail and just pulled this one off the car. That's it. So obviously this one is a little bit older, a little more used, and honestly just not that appealing. It's not horrible. There are far worse steering wheels, but it's just not that appealing. Kind of feels like you're driving a boat with this thing. This one obviously looks a lot nicer, much more sporty. It's going to make the interior feel a little bit more modern. Not too modern, but modern for 1999. And overall, I just think looks far sexier than this one, especially when it comes to the airbag. I mean, the airbag is like half the size as the airbag on this one. So for me personally, the shape of this one just looks way better. There is also a size difference between these two. If we measure this one from top to bottom, we are looking at 15 inches from top to bottom, dead center. If we measure this one from top to bottom, this one is at 14 and a half. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it really does make a big difference once you get into the car. And lastly, one of the things that I really love about this steering wheel versus this one, this is a very skinny steering wheel. I've always liked the thicker steering wheels a lot better in these cars. This one is definitely thicker compared to this one. So again, just a few advantages with this steering wheel over this one. They might not seem that significant, but in my opinion, they actually are quite significant. And for a few $100, I really don't think you can go wrong when it comes to an OEM upgrade in these cars. So let's go ahead and get the new one installed. It's pretty easy, plug and play at this point, and I'm so looking forward to driving this car with this wheel. Let's get into it. All right, so new wheel about to go in. I don't know if you guys can see that, but inside of the steering wheel where the column matches up with the wheel itself, there is a notch that's directly at 6 o'clock, and that is going to tell you how to line this up with the column here. There's a notch on the column and a notch on the wheel, so you literally just line it up, pop it in, should be good. And like I said, this is a plug and play application on my car, so it's really as simple as just plugging in both of the plugs. And luckily I bought this wheel with all of the electronics already in it, so I didn't have to buy anything else. For a couple $100 to have everything included, I don't know, man, sounds like a no-brainer to me, and it makes such a big difference. I didn't want to do some kind of like custom wheel in this car. This is not the car for that. These cars deserve OEM modifications, upgrades, we shall say, in my opinion. So throw the 16 mil back in after we have those two connections made. And this is going to be 45 foot-pounds of torque. Ugh. And now, so this airbag, the way that this airbag is going to go in is using the retaining clip method, where it's basically just going to clip right in, and you're no longer dealing with any Torx bolts like the old one. plug in the airbag like that, lock it down, plug in the airbag on this side, this, lock it down, make sure there aren't any wires in the way or anything that's gonna get junked up. Boom. Make sure everything is seated properly. Looks good to me. Look at that. What a difference. It already makes such a big difference. This wheel, being that it's a lot smaller than the other one, it just makes everything feel so much more sporty in this car. All right, let's tackle this rear window regulator. In order to get this off, there is a little plastic cover right here near the handle. Pop that out with a pick tool. T20, never mind. Someone replaced it with a Phillips head. The common theme of this car is whoever worked on it last did not replace parts correctly. That has been the most common theme in this entire car. This should be a T20, but it is a Phillips head in mine. I think we have to remove this as well. I don't like working on door cards from older cars because everything breaks when you take it off. This is like synonymous with my E36 days. Literally everything I took apart broke. This fell out. Don't know what that's from. Gonna have to figure that out later. This seems like it has never been opened, the vapor guard, which we are going to have to do. Airbag is probably in the way. So just to show you guys the window switch, nothing happens. On the Tourings, this repair is a little bit different because it's quite a bit more involved to remove. You have to remove the window to do this. So yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass. We're gonna remove this vapor guard piece, try not to break it. All right, so once you're at this part, we're gonna find out why my regulator does not work. That would be our problem. Cable is not even connected, so something broke internally on the regulator itself and it's just jammed up. It won't even move. So in order to get this out, we need to be able to access the Torx. It's actually right back there. There's a Torx bolt, it holds in the window itself, and then we have to remove the trim piece on the outside in order to pull the window itself out. We have to be able to do that in order to move the regulator and also pull the Torx bolt behind the window that is holding the actual regulator into the door frame. So that's why you have to remove the window. Yeah, not exciting. Not the most fun thing to do for sure. And I'll show you what they're supposed to look like. You can see this cable nice and tight all the way through from here to here. That's what it should look like. WD-40. So I figured out why the window won't move at all. Because the guy before me, who's been leaving me little Easter eggs all over this car, decided to put a self-tapping screw underneath the glass so it wouldn't fall. That would be the first time I've seen that. So rather than like putting a new regulator in, just sent a self-tapper through to hold the window up so it never came down. Came right out. So he literally had a self-tapping screw just basically holding this in. Even if the regulator did work, this window was never going down. So I've already taken out the two 10 mils at the bottom that hold in the entire unit. Now all we have to do is take out the Torx up top, and then we can finesse out this whole unit. All right, so to show you guys the differences here, the motor is the failure part on this one. Just doesn't want to move anywhere. This piece is broken up here, and the spring inside there is broken as well. This one obviously all intact and in one piece. And yeah, this one was never gonna work no matter what you did to it. She was cooked. So let's throw in the new one, well, used new one, and hope that this works. I'm gonna test it before I put it in. I'm just gonna go ahead and plug it in to the car's electronics and make sure it works beforehand. But yeah, man, this is, I still can't believe he put a self-tapping screw in to hold that window up. That is, I mean, I get it. Like, I know why he did it. He didn't want the window to fall, but it's like, just replace it. Do the maintenance the correct way, and then you don't have to send self-tapping screws into your door. Just found a lot of those little Easter eggs all over this car. What a joy, what a joy. It's not the hardest job to do, but it's just a lot of little steps, a lot of like messing around. All right, let's make sure this works before we do anything. Where'd I put my button? Is that it? That's it. Uh-oh, uh-oh. That's not good. I don't think this one works either. Womp womp, bummer dude. I think we have ourselves a faulty window regulator. Damn. It's not a power issue? Nothing. Oh. Do we have a faulty switch, maybe? Let's do this. Let's unplug this. This is the new one for the other side. Let's see if this one works. Process of elimination. Do we have a bad switch? Because neither of these work. The chances of them both being bad, I don't know. Kind of slim. I think I'm just gonna obviously not put the broken one back in. I'll put the new used one that hypothetically could be broken. I'm gonna put this back in the car. Then I'm gonna swap the switch from the other side. Either way, I have to put it back together. I can't not put a window back in the car. So I might as well put the one that isn't completely broken back in. Figured it out. The rear switches, for whatever reason, are not working. So it might be a fuse. I was trying to find the fuse, can't find it. But I can control this with the front switches. That's good. We're making progress. So now we can put the window back in, connect it to this. You have to be able to move this down in order to actually put the window, the glass, back in. The regulator is not bad. Whew. I'm so glad. I did not want to have to do this again. Not a fun job. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. I was taking switches out of every single door and putting them on this harness. I think something is wrong with the rear window harness on this side. I don't know. There might be a bad ground somewhere or some shit. This switch just doesn't work in the back. Thinking maybe that's either a wiring issue or just a faulty switch, but both of them don't work. Both of my rear passenger switches do not work. But hey, at least the window works. That's all I can ask for. I'm gonna knock out the other side off camera, because it's just not fun. I know I said I wasn't gonna film this, but this is just too good to not film. So, on the left side, in order to keep the broken window from falling down, we found this screw that he sent through the door under the glass to hold it up. Yeah, not the proper way to do it, right? This side, the story gets even better. We have a block of wood wedged underneath here to push the window up. Now, I have seen some shit. This is the type of shit that takes the cake. Man, this is a new one. New level right here. Assuming that the window might fall on us. No, okay. That's crazy. I want to be really clear. I'm not trying to be the guy that throws shade. I'm just trying to like educate people and help people when it comes to fixing cars like this or buying older cars that were owned by people who are DIY techs. And I'm not like a master tech by any means, but I try to do shit the right way. You know what I mean? This is another level, dude. The person before me, the previous owner, did not want to pay anyone to do it the right way, but maybe did not have the wherewithal or the patience to learn how to do things the right way when fixing the car, and probably just didn't want to have to go through the trouble, the hassle of fixing the car the right way. And so what we're finding are these little Easter eggs. If the radio didn't work, he just removes the amp and cuts wires altogether, missing subwoofer box, spliced wires in places where splices shouldn't be happening, a whole bunch of like relays and fuses and open wires where he was running the aftermarket Angel Eyes. That was causing all types types of electrical issues with the car where the lights would just randomly turn on at night. Like 2 a.m. my headlights would just turn on. It's like, dude, what is up with this car? Things like the ABS, like obviously that was never taken care of. We haven't really gotten into anything mechanical. Like as far as I can tell and from what I've seen, the car's fine. There's no issues with it. It drives well. Hopefully he didn't do any of the mechanical work himself because I'm sure I'm gonna find some shit. But now we're also finding with the windows, even had the regulators. I don't know if he just didn't know how to do the job or didn't want to pay someone to do the job, but we're finding, you know, self-tapping screws to hold up the glass. We're finding blocks of wood to hold up the glass. So this is what I mean by the types of people who come across these cars and then they're like, oh my God, older BMWs are pieces of shit. They're so unreliable. They're such garbage. Well, 9 times out of 10, it's because you buy a car that was maintained by someone before you who didn't maintain it at all. They were just doing chop work, not addressing the problems the right way, and actually spending the money that you need to spend in order to get a car of this nature back to good standing order. It's like if you don't go to the doctor for something small and then that sort of compounds over the years and it becomes something bigger. That's exactly what you get with cars. You don't address something small, it becomes something bigger later on. At least that's the way that I see it. And also I want to be really clear. Like I'm not trying to throw shade on the previous owner. He's probably not even going to see this video. If he does, hopefully we all learn a lesson here, because like the majority of people will do things like this. Like the majority of people with older cars who don't want to have to spend the money, it doesn't really make sense to spend the money on an older car. Like I'm the only psychopath that's going to spend 10 grand to get this thing like perfect, you know? Most people would not do that. I mean, when I say 10 grand, it's probably going to be more. It's probably going to be 20 grand to get this car where I want it to be, like OEM. We're not even talking about any of the M5 stuff. We're just talking about like 1999 528, like good condition. It's probably going to be like 15, 20 grand. I'm the only psychopath that's going to do that. So I want to say that because the majority of people will not go to these lengths to replace things the right way, spend a lot of money to get an older car back in good standing order. For most people, they're just going to sell the thing off and then someone like me will buy it, or someone who thinks that they're getting a good car and won't have the wherewithal or the knowledge to repair things, or the money, I guess, and then they'll just have like a bad taste of what BMWs are in their mouth if this is like their first BMW that they ever bought. But mainly, the only point I'm trying to make here is you have to be super careful about the cars that you're buying. There are some things that you can find out right away and there's some things you cannot. It's not like when you go to look at a car, you're gonna be able to take off the whole door card to find out if there's like a block of wood in there or not. Obviously, that's something that you're gonna find out later on, unfortunately, but this is the common theme with this car. We just have a lot of like repairs that weren't done the correct way. They're not even repairs really, they're just like band-aids. Anyways, I gotta get back to work. I'm gonna finish up this door. Yeah, I don't know, pray for me. All right, second one is out. Dude, this thing is cooked. Wire is completely frayed off over here. This side of the cable is all jacked up. Yeah, this thing is dunzo, dude. Fresh one going in. Job well done. All right, man. I felt like there was one thing left to do here, and that's drive the car with the new wheel, which I haven't done yet. Just excuse my alignment because it's really bad. And so, wheel's gonna be a little crooked when I'm going straight. But hey, I figured I might as well wait to get in alignment until I throw the new wheels on, right? Like, what's the point until I get the wheels on? So, but damn, dude, already, obviously, this steering wheel is 10 times better than the old one. This is a week of upgrading steering wheels. We did the Mad Trace JQ Works on the E92 M3, and now we got the E39 M5 wheel on the 528 Wagon. This is so much better. Like, so much better. It just completely changes the car. Such a simple upgrade that makes such a big difference. Absolutely love it. And hey, our rear windows work too. Today has been nothing but a W, other than the fact that the rear window switches don't work, which is pretty weird. Yo, it's Future John here. I never said I was the smartest guy in the world, but I figured out why the rear switches weren't working. I had the rear window lock on. Yeah, it was that simple, man. It was that simple. Hey. At least we figured it out, right? Switches are good. This car, let me tell you something, man. I have so much love for this wagon. It's not the fastest, it's not the coolest, it's not the prettiest, but I just love the car. It's so comfortable to drive. It's like the perfect daily driver. Tons of room. The suspension, it's old, but it's like riding on a couch. It's so comfortable, and all my other cars are very stiff, very race car feeling. This is just, it's so forgiving. Even if the shocks are bad and it feels like I'm in a boat, it's just a comfortable car to drive. But yeah, man, I'm honestly enjoying the rebuild process. You know, it's obviously finding all these funny things in the car is just kind of part of the story, part of the journey. But as far as like the work and going through the process of like finding the things to fix and learning about the chassis and discovering which parts on this car are kind of like the Achilles heel and weak points, I'm really enjoying it. It's a fun car to work on, and obviously super satisfying to see this thing sort of come back to life piece by piece. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that needs to be addressed on the car, so it's kind of, it's difficult to not want to do everything like right away, you know what I mean? Because I want this car to be great, and I want it to be great like now. But it's gonna, the reality is it's gonna take me like a year to make this thing, you know, what I want it to be. I gotta replace all the gaskets, all the seals, gotta do all the engine work, gotta do all the cooling work, the brakes, suspension. I mean, who knows what, the trim, the interior. I mean, we've got a lot of work to do, and finally I'm gonna have the car painted. I'm gonna have it repainted, so it's gonna look really good, man. I'm gonna have this thing like freaking mint by the time I'm done with it. And the plans, I'm just gonna drive it, dude. It's a daily driver, and like that's exactly what it's been for me so far, and it's perfect. It's freaking perfect, man. I can't ask for anything more out of this car right now in my life. Having this as like the workhorse, and then having my other cars is like my fun little weekend toys and track car. It's perfect. Oh, I didn't know the memory seating position also saves the steering wheel position. Wow, they had it figured out. Luxury in 1999, brother. So obviously the steering wheel makes a huge difference in this car. It's just a better looking wheel all around, a little bit thicker, a little bit more responsive, cleaner looking. And you know, when you're touching this thing every day, and especially with this being my daily driver, it kind of makes a big difference. You know what I mean? So the E39, one thing that's cool that I didn't know is that the E39 M5 steering wheel and the E46 M3 steering wheel are the same. I had no idea. So that's kind of neat. Figured that out. And yeah, man, just loving wagon life. I think I'm gonna go with the black trim. It's like a Technic gray or something. It's like a really dark gray / black trim. I think it's just gonna make more sense in this car because all of the wood that I find that's used is fucked. It's already broken. Replace this tray up here, so this all is brand new. Also got a new little coin slot tray right here with a working drawer. I didn't have that before, and my old one was all messed up. And then I'm kind of doing everything in chunks, so like I'm gonna do a lot of the interior next. So I'll replace all the trim. I'm gonna re-glue all of the interior pieces, and then I'm gonna dye them all black. So all of this is gonna go black that's above me, all of the trim panel pieces and all that. New shift boot, new e-brake boot, new shift knob, and then of course like short shifter, bushing kit, shift shaft seal, shifter bushing, like all of that stuff. Refresh all of this so we have a nice short throw, and we also have like a new feeling shifter. This thing is like crazy, man. There's just all kinds of just movement in it. It's pretty jacked up. That's to be expected. The guy before me didn't fix a single thing, so I thought he did, but I don't think he did it the right way. So anyways, man, this thing's turning out really good so far. Super happy with it. The rear window job is not terrible. It's just not fun, if I'm being completely honest. Like, it's just a lot of little things that, you know, with these cars, anytime you touch something or you remove it, the possibility of things breaking is very high. Oh, I did find a hood. I'm just gonna buy a new one. Found out that ordering a new hood with shipping is like $500, and all of the used ones that they want with shipping is damn near $500. So it's like, no, I'm just gonna go ahead and get a new one. Upgraded the grills to the silver. Obviously looks way better. Gonna have to replace the headlights. They're just fucked, but I want new ones anyways. New wheels will be on the car soon, and then we're changing up suspension. I already put in all new fender liners. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a work in progress, but I'm loving this car, dude. Just having this as a daily driver is just so legit. This car is just, dude, I love it. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you following the journey. See you in the next one. Peace.